I've been straightening up my living room tonight, and something crossed my mind. Over the years, I've heard wives say things like, "My husband spends more time in the garage than he does in the house. He gets off work and finds somewhere else to go. He'll sit in the driveway before he comes inside." And I think a lot of women immediately assume it means he doesn't want to be with his family. Sometimes that's true, but sometimes that's not what's happening at all. One thing I learned after many years of marriage is that people naturally move toward places where they feel peace and away from places where they feel pressure. That's true for women and that's true for men. Now, before anybody misunderstands me, I'm not talking about a husband who refuses responsibility. I'm not talking about a man neglecting his family. I'm talking about ordinary marriages. Sometimes a husband walks through the door already carrying the weight of the day: work problems, money concerns, health concerns, responsibilities. And before he can even sit down, the conversation starts with everything that's wrong: the bills, the children, the repairs, the problems, the frustrations. Now, hear me clearly. Those things need to be discussed. I'm not saying wives should stay silent. I'm not saying problems should be ignored. What I'm saying is timing matters, tone matters, approach matters. Because after a while, a person begins to associate certain feelings with certain places. If every time somebody comes home, they immediately feel pressure, correction, criticism, or conflict, home starts to feel less like a refuge and more like a job. That's something I didn't fully understand when I was younger. I thought if something needed to be said, it needed to be said immediately. I didn't think much about timing. I didn't think much about whether somebody had the capacity to hear it in that moment. I was focused on the issue. Years later, I realized that how you say something can be just as important as what you're saying. And when people feel understood, they usually become more willing to listen. When people feel attacked, they usually become more defensive. That's just human nature. One thing I think long marriages teaches you is that every thought doesn't have to be spoken the minute it entered your mind. Sometimes waiting an hour changes the entire conversation. Sometimes waiting until tomorrow changes the entire outcome. Sometimes giving somebody a chance to settle in makes all the difference. I've also noticed something else over the years. Many wives want their husbands to come home and feel connected, but connection doesn't usually begin with correction. Connection usually begins with warmth, with conversation, with making somebody feel welcomed, with making home feel like a place where both people can breathe. Again, I'm not talking about ignoring real problems. Real problems need real conversation. But I've learned that those conversations often go much better when people don't feel ambushed the moment they walk through the door. One of the reasons some marriages stay strong for decades is because both people learn how to approach difficult conversations in a way that protects the relationship instead of damaging it. That's wisdom I didn't have when I was younger. That's something life taught me over time, and it's something I've been thinking about while straightening up my living room tonight. Still standing with Donna at 67. Marriage wisdom, faith, and good home cooking, still going strong after 34 years.